In this video, I want to give you my first impressions of the Acer Aspire 1 Cloudbook 11, which is kind of a mouthful, so I'll just call it the Acer Cloudbook 11. So let's get to it. If you saw my previous video on this, where I fired up this device for the very first time, I hit the power button and it didn't turn on. So I thought that it came without a charge on the battery. So I plugged the device in and then hit the power button. Now I don't know why, but the battery actually did have a full charge on it. So whether that was some safeguard to have me actually plug the device in before I use it, or if that was some sort of malfunction, I don't know. But once the device was plugged in, I was able to turn it on. So I shut the device down, and I'm going to turn this device on for the second time. So the reason I'm showing you this is actually twofold. Number one, I want to see that this is going to work just on battery power and firing it up without any issue. And number two, I want to give you an idea of how fast it takes for this laptop to fire up once you have it all set up. So in 3, 2, 1. Okay, it fires up. So I don't know if that was some sort of safeguard or just something that kind of was quirky when I actually was trying to fire it up for the first time. But there you go. Boom. Very quick. We've got the lock screen. Then you have the password screen. Let me put in my password and I'll join you on the other side of that. All right, let me hit enter here and we can see how long it takes to boot up to the desktop. All right. Took a little bit longer than I thought it would, but still very quick. So that's nice to know that you can boot up into Windows fairly quickly. This device was totally shut down. It was not put to sleep. It was totally shut down. So that was from a cold boot. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you might know that number one, I blind type, and number two, I've dealt with keyboards in the past that have slightly smaller keys on them. And that's never really much of a deal breaker for me. I have used this keyboard a bit, and the keys are probably as small as you'd want them to ever be. You'd never want them to be any smaller than they are on this laptop here. So it's usable. I'll need more time with it to give you my full fleshed out opinion on it though. However, what I can say is on a keyboard, when you have smaller keys or a condensed keyboard and they start changing some of the actual layout of that keyboard, that's when I do have a problem. And that's the case over here with this shift key. I've dealt with this on the Logitech K400 wireless keyboard, where the shift key was made a lot smaller to accommodate the arrow keys, pretty much identical to the situation that we have here. Now, I blind type, so that's all, muscle memory, and you do it by rote, basically. So when I'm typing, I'm not necessarily thinking about the keyboard that I'm typing on, and when I want to hit Shift, I always hit the up arrow key on this, at least in the couple of hours that I've used it. So, not too happy with that, but otherwise, the keyboard's usable. So next up we have the disk usage. Now this is a budget laptop or a modern day netbook, or again, as this thing is marketed, a Cloudbook. So it's a budget device and it has limited specs and limited storage, although in this day and age when you have something that is limited in specs, it's not as bad as it was in the netbook days. Nowadays these things are very useful devices, and that's why they kind of intrigue me. But again, they do have limited specs, so they have limited storage. Now this device comes with a 32 gigabyte eMMC drive, which is a solid state drive. And as you can see here, it shows up as 28.5 gigabytes of usable space. And I don't have anything on this PC. And there is 14.2 gigabytes of free space on here currently. Now, the only difference between when it was totally brand new and right now is a program that is right here, which is Acer Care Center. Now, that wasn't loaded on the device when I first fired it up. It showed up down here, and I clicked on it, and it didn't really give me any option. It just installed itself on the computer. So again, I mean, it's not malware or anything like that. It's the Acer Care Center. This is an Acer computer. So it's something that came with the device or was meant to be on the device. I'm sure I could remove it if I wanted to. But before this program was on there, it was, I believe, 15.5 gigabytes of free space, or a little bit over 15 gigabytes. I don't remember the exact point after it, but it was 15 point something gigabytes of free space. And with this Acer Care Center, it's down to 14.2 gigabytes of free space. I did want to have that documented so you know what kind of free space you're dealing with on this device. Now, you do have a full-sized SD card slot that you can use on this device. I'll have to check and see if the SD card fits flush in there or not. That'll be a big decider if you're going to have the storage in there permanently or semi-permanently, as opposed to just using it now and again. But just so you know, that's the kind of storage you're dealing with on this device. So the final thing I want to cover in this video is Cortana. And I actually saved the setup process for this video, because if you followed my channel and you know my history with this device, my limited history with this device, this is the first and only Windows 10 device that I've ever owned that has a microphone on it that I can actually use Cortana as it was intended to be used. So to initiate that, I believe I'm just going to click down here in the search box, and it's going to bring me to the Cortana setup. As you can see here, hopefully you can read that, but it gives you a list of things that Cortana can do for you. It can give you reminders. You can use my voice to give tasks to Cortana to dictate messages or chat. That's really one of the things I want to try on there. Cortana will help me find stuff on my device, on the web, or on OneDrive. And what's this one here? Keep you posted on the status of your packages and flights. A lot like Google Now if you're an Android user. It says here, I can offer personalized ideas, news, scores, tidbits, events, traffic, weather, and jokes. So I am curious about this. I do want to hit next here. And this is pretty much just a privacy statement, or not the privacy statement that's here. This pretty much is just giving you the terms of service here. To let Cortana do her best, Microsoft collects and uses information including your location and location history, contacts, voice, input, search history, calendar details, content and communication history from messages and apps, and other information on your device. In Microsoft Edge, Cortana collects and uses your browsing history. You can always tinker with what Cortana remembers in the notebook. Disable Cortana in Microsoft Edge or turn Cortana off entirely. Now, I know there are a lot of people who are very concerned with their privacy. If that's the case, you don't want Cortana collecting information on you, then you wouldn't use this. But in order for me to use it, I need to do that. So I'm going to hit agree here. And it says, great. Now, what would you like me to call you? Let's see if it'll go with TechHarvest. If I made it one word, it probably would say it weird. So we'll make it 2 words, even though it is 2 words, but generally in a lot of the ways I skip the space. There we go. Let's see if it'll say anything here. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. All right. Kind of interested in what's going on here. It doesn't give me an option to skip this, so let me just see if I can hit sign in. I'm sure it's not going to let me bypass this, but yeah. All right, well, let me sign into my Microsoft account, and I'll join you on the other side of that. Okay, so I signed in, did what it wanted me to do, and it wants me to set up a PIN. Using a PIN is faster and more secure than a password. We think you'll love it. As a side note, I wish tech companies would drop that phrase, we think you'll love it. It's an old Steve Jobs term. I found it annoying back then. I find it annoying now. So let's see. How can a PIN be safer than a long password? I don't want to use a PIN. This is not what this is all about. I wanted to use Cortana. I'm not interested in all of this password stuff. So the interesting thing is now that, and this is sort of what I wanted to avoid, I like to have unique devices. I like to have every device that I have that's kind of unique, and it offers a unique background, a unique experience and whatnot. And because I did sign in with my Microsoft account on this, I don't know why it brought me back to this, but because I signed in with my Microsoft account, it changed the background to what I had on my previous Windows 8 device that I used. So not a huge fan of what just happened here. I don't really know why I have to sign in again, but let me sign in again and let's see if we can bypass this part, because again, I just want to use Cortana. I don't want to worry about all this stuff. Okay, so I entered my password, and my cat is playing with the I don't think you can see it there, but she's walking around here. It says, oops, something went wrong after I entered in my password. So I don't know what is going on here. But apparently that first sign-in worked and that second sign-in was unnecessary. So it says here, you'll see the latest on what I'm tracking for you. You can see what I've learned in the notebook or add things that interest you. So we just want to bypass this. And let's see. Okay, it says excellent. They're all in the notebook. If you want to make changes, that's fine. I don't really want to do anything with email. Facts, play music. Okay. Let's see. There's a microphone, or what appears to be a microphone here. So let me see. How much is the Acer Cloudbook 11? Okay, so it brings up a Bing search for how much is the Acer Cloudbook 11. So that's good. It's not always listening. I don't know if you can actually make the settings that it will listen. I'll have to delve into that a little bit deeper. Again, this is just me touching on this for the very first time. But let's do another search here. Look up TechHarvest. Okay, it looks up Tax Harvest. Let's try this again. TechHarvest. There we go. I can go to my YouTube page here. So it's pretty interesting. Again, this is just my first foray into this, and I think my welcome video is going to start playing here. So let me
it's 2015.
Pause here.
And I
So that gave you a little preview of the speakers as well, which I haven't really put through their paces. And again, I really haven't put this entire laptop through its paces yet. But so far, I like, again, the build quality. I like the trackpad. I think the keyboard, there's some issues there. Cortana, I'm trying out. The space is limited, but that's what you should expect on a device like this. I knew it with the HP Stream 11. I knew it with the Asus X205. So I know it with this, and I really, if you have a device like this, you have to know that going into it, and you shouldn't want to put a lot of content on it. It should be just a device that you're using for certain tasks. And of course, you do always have that removable storage. So that's going to do it for this video. If you want to help out this channel, give me a thumbs up, favorite this video, you can share this video, you can leave me a tip on my YouTube page, which is right over here, support this channel, you can click on that. Or you can actually join my Patreon at patreon.com/TechHarvest, all of which would be greatly appreciated. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.